Okay, welcome back. After installing the minimal CentOS 7, these are the following steps that we're going to do. We're going to actually do a yum update to update the kernel. We're going to disable the firewalls. We're going to disable SELinux, and then we will install the Apache web server, mariadb, basically replace MySQLDB, 100% compatible between the two. The only thing is that Oracle bought MySQLDB, so now they're basically doing a spin-off of that called mariadb. We'll install that, and then we'll install PHP, and then restart all the services, and then I'll show you the basically the PHP info page where you can see to make sure that all of your extensions and stuff like that are available in there. So let's get going on this. Let's do a quick yum update. There'll also be notes on the steps that I took for this, as well as a place where you can go to my DocuWiki site where you can get more information. Okay, so there's 18 packages. It does look like there's a kernel upgrade. So I'll show you basically the kernel before and then the kernel after we reboot, and you'll see there's a difference. I'll say yes to this. Now, one thing that has changed is instead of the uh, normal, I guess, services that you could use to start and stop services, you can still use it in 7, but it's been kind of a little bit depreciated because they have a new thing, systemd, that's been implemented into CentOS 7. It's also in Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7 as well. And from that, you basically do the same things. It's just a little bit different, and you have more or less, I almost call them modules, but services and stuff like that are installed that you can, start, stop, disable, enable, and we'll get into that as well once we start disabling the firewall and things like that. All right, everything's been completed. That part looks good so far. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to disable the firewall. So it'll be systemctl disable called firewall d service. So basically, IP tables and all that stuff has changed as well. Firewall D is the service instead of IP tables. So right now we're disabling the firewall. Go through and does make some changes. You can see it does a remove and stuff like that. We can also stop it as well. So do a system and that just basically stops the firewall. Now when it reboots, the firewall will be disabled because we put the earlier one in there. Here I just want to show you the current kernel version. You can see it's 3.10.0-123 or 123, and then we installed or updated the kernel, so once we reboot, it'll actually go into the new kernel after we reboot. But before we do that, we want to disable the SELinux. That's located in the sysconfig SELinux. Instead of enforcing, we're going to say disabled. Right, quit. And then now we're going to reboot. And we're going to do a uname -a. And now you can see that it's 3.10.0.123.4.2. So that's the new kernel that was installed when we did the updates. Selinux has been disabled, the firewall has been disabled, all our stuff. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue installing the LAMP. We've already got the Linux installed. Now we're going to do Apache. In CentOS and Red Hat, it's called httpd. So we'll do a yum install. Yes. And here we can just use the old command if we want, chkconfig, httpd, and it goes through and it makes the changes that it needs to do for that. Then we can start it, and it started the httpd service. And then also we can look this up with the system control list, and then minus units. And here we should be able to see the HTTP server right there, httpd service, and it's loaded, active, and running, the Apache HTTP server. So we're good. Web server is running. If we went to a website, we could verify that. Okay, next thing we want to do, since we're going to continue with the LAMP, is we want to install the mariadb. Used to kind of stand for MySQL, but it's basically the same database. As I mentioned earlier, it was a spin-off, and they've created their own version of it because Oracle bought the MySQL version of it. So what we're going to do there is do a yum install. And this installs the server as well as the client packages. And we use the system control table. And that has enabled it. And now we're going to actually start it. And let's get started. And now we're just going to do a MySQL secure installation. Set a root password. And there we go. The mariadb is set up, and we're good to go on that part. Now I want to install the PHP. Okay. That's been installed. I just wanted to show you something real quick. We're going to create a file, basically just to tell us what information we have for PHP. And it'll look like the following. Once we do that, we're going to restart the HTTP service. And then we can also check it in a web browser. Okay, now that everything's been installed, the basic PHP, Apache, and MySQL. We haven't done all of the PHP stuff yet, but I just wanted to show you real quick that we can go to that page that we created to see the PHP info, and we'll do that right now. So we should know what the IP address is. It is, for me anyways, this is the IP address. So we'll put that into a browser. I refresh it. We can see that it's PHP version 5.416. Tells the build date, all that information in here, where the file scanned, loaded, all that stuff is. And you can see everything like configuration, what modules like the Apache environment. We also see like BZ, zip, core, curl, date. It's all usually alphabetical. And I just wanted to show you that right now there's no MySQL here. So we're going to install some more PHP stuff. So let me minimize this and get those other files. And say yes to that. This will get our MySQL, our ODBC, other things. And there's multiple ones you can add. Those are just the standard ones. Now here, one thing we have to make sure that we do is we do restart the HTTP server. That's restarted, and then we can go back and check the config file. We'll refresh it, and you can see there's a lot more information in here now. You got the handler, you got your Apache environment, headers, bzip, calendar, core, Perl, date, DOM, XF filter, FTP-gd, hash. I mean, just a ton more that we've added. MBstring. There's the MySQL, which is also the same as the mariadb. Here you can see it even says mariadb. So we know we're good there. And that is a LAMP install for CentOS 7 minimal. Thank you, and I'll be having some more videos up here, and really excited that CentOS 7 is finally out. Maybe eventually I'll get into some containers and stuff like that. Again, you can get some more information on my DocuWiki site, which will be documented in the notes, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.